of Democracy and Progress, 1815 to 1914, Chapter 26. In Britain, reforms gave all men the right to vote. A republic was proclaimed in France, but political conflict continued. Some British colonies won the right to govern themselves, but the struggle for that right was not easy in Ireland. The United States fought a civil war that finally put an end to slavery, and new inventions and scientific advances made life more healthful and enjoyable. Since the 1600s, Britain's government had been a constitutional monarchy. A king or queen ruled the country, but the elected legislature, the parliament, held the real power. Still, very few people could vote for members of parliament. Only men who owned property, about 6% of the population, actually had that right. That changed in the 1800s. The Reform Bill of 1832 was the first step. The middle-class people across England protested the fact that they could not vote. Worried by revolutions sweeping Europe, Parliament passed the Reform Bill. This law gave the right to vote to many in the middle class. It also gave seats in the Parliament to the new industrial cities, which had not had any representation before. Over time, Parliament made more changes, and by the 1884, almost all adult males in Britain could vote. Parliament also made votes to take place by a secret ballot. Another law gave pay to the members of Parliament, which in effect opened that body to people who were not wealthy. By 1890, a number of the countries with industrial economies had given all men the right to vote. None, however, gave women that right. During the 1800s, women in the United States and Britain peacefully campaigned for the vote. Beginning in 1903, a group called the Women's Social and Political Union began a stronger campaign for women's suffrage in Britain. They held rallies and parades. They also broke up the speeches of government officials and sometimes set fire to buildings. When the leaders were arrested, they went on hunger strikes to gain publicity for their cause. It was not until World War I, however, that women won the right to vote in both Great Britain and the United States. The road to democracy in France was more rocky. After France's defeat at the hands of Prussia in 1870, France went through a series of crises. Finally, a new government, the Third Republic, was formed. It lasted over 60 years, but France remained divided. In the 1890s, French society was divided over the case of an army officer, Alfred Dreyfus, who was accused of being a traitor. The charge was false and was made largely because Dreyfus was a Jew. However, many believed the charge as he was found guilty. A few years later, new evidence showed that he had been framed. Dreyfus was later declared innocent. The affair revealed that many in Europe hated Jews. In Eastern Europe, the situation was very bad. The Russian government even allowed organized attacks on the Jewish villages. From 1880s on, many Jews fled to the United States.